It's a great pleasure for me to be here with you here at Congregation Va-Dor, and we also celebrate Jewish heritage at the Heritage, and we're very grateful to the Heritage for allowing us to to use their space and to perpetrate our unique brand of Judaism, which unites for the first time the greatest revelations in human history, science and religion. Science helps us understand how the world is. Religion, hopefully, helps us understand how the world should be. But usually it doesn't quite get it right. And so, because it's usually done in an irrational way. Here we try to make religion rational, according to the teachings of Albert Einstein, who said that science without religion is lame, and religion without science is blind. We've seen blind religious faith throughout history, doing horrible things. We're starting to see it now in Florida. It's rearing its ugly head by those who want to impose a fundamentalist white Christian nationalism upon the rest of us. We resist with lawsuits and with inspiring messages and rallies, etc. So we appreciate your being here. We do believe in freedom of speech. I'm glad that we have a Dutch treat for us today. We have a film crew all the way from Holland who is here with us to help shed light on some of the issues and some of the crazy things that happen in the United States of America. And before that, we had a robust exchange of views. If you do disagree with me, I'd be happy to hear from you. We invite all points of view here. We have a definite point of view, a rational approach to religion, and we take a stand on issues, but we believe very, very much in freedom of speech and democracy, and we encourage people to speak out. So if I say something you think is a little off or not consistent with science or with your understanding of what Jewish values should teach us, you are welcome to participate and to share your view with us. We are going to begin the Shabbat celebration by thanking Jacqueline Alperin for sponsoring our Oneg Shabbat in honor and memory of her aunt Hilda Nadelberg. May her memory be a blessing. Before we do this, we are going to start out with a song that I have adulterated from the great show of Cheers. We do have Ruth here on the piano, who's an expert. She's pretty good at following my baritone, but a lot of the songs we haven't collaborated on yet. So I do them a cappella, not shedding any aspersions upon her, but it's kind of hard to follow. We usually have Carol Garrett here, Cantor Carol Garrett, who does an incredible job, but she unfortunately is not able to be with us tonight. So I'm going to try this one a cappella. Making our way in the world today sure can take a lot. So Jews take time on the seventh day to celebrate Shabbat, seeking a righteous, peaceful way. On Shabbat we go where everybody seeks Hashem. And don't get hung up on the name. You want to go bask in the glow of the Sabbath candle's flame, where you can know that all are glad you came. You want to go where people grow, instead of just staying the same, where peace and love we joyously proclaim. The most important part of that song is you want to go where people grow, instead of just saying the same. If you walk out of here the same way as you walked in, then you got some benefit. You might have had a nice nap while I give my messages, or maybe you had some nice food or reconnected with people, or even recited some of the prayers from our heritage. But if you truly want to gain from this experience of dipping into the wisdom of our ancestors, then you will attempt to take the greatest voyage of all that my father, who was a rabbi till 95, Rabbi Sam Silver, the founding rabbi of this temple, said the greatest voyage of all is to travel from the place we are today to the person we could become tomorrow if we used all the potential implanted within us by God. And I, as his son, who takes his teachings and maybe embellishes them a little bit or goes in a slightly more scientific direction, I would say take all the abilities that have been planted within us by 4 billion years of natural selection. We've been naturally selected, and let's use all that potential. Imagine what we could do if we used all that potential. That's what we're accomplishing or attempting to accomplish here. To introduce us to shed a little light on the subject, we call up Jackie Alperin, the sponsor of our Oneg Shabbat, to come on up and lead us in the lighting of the Shabbat candles. If you notice, we have 2 candles. According to traditions, that's Zachor v'Shamor, to remember and to observe. We use 2 candles because we like the light of reason and the light of love. Take it away.
I'm just going to read, right? I'm not going to light?
Okay. But share any comments you like.
Okay. Let us bless the source of light that ripens the fruit on the vine as we hallow the 7th day, the Sabbath day, in remembrance of creation. For the Sabbath is first among holy days. We therefore raise this cup of sweet wine and recite the blessing over the wine. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. I like it. Amen.
You want to say anything?
Yeah, Hilda.
You got to use the mic.
Oh, yes, Hilda loved coming to Florida and coming to Va-Dor, and she's with us, and she's with me now in spirit. She's with all of us here today, and that's why as you know, I did the Oneg, and I have some pictures of her, and I'm going to read a poem that I wrote about her later as well. Okay, thank you.
I got to light the candles, yes. Sharon Leibovitz, she created the service. She orchestrates everything. And if we forget to do anything, she reminds us right away. She's really good. Yep. If my talit is a little off balance, she reminds me. My microphone's not working, whatever it is. Thank you very much. When Jackie read that and she said at the end, Amen, I'm reminded of the politician. He's giving a speech, and he's reading a speech that was written for him by a speechwriter, and he says, ha, ha. And then he turns the page and he says, ha. So the other one that my dad used to tell us about, the guy, he's writing speeches for the politician, and he didn't really care for the politician that much. He was ready to leave his employ. So the politician's reading through his speech, and he flips the page, and it says, you're on your own now, you old buzzard. So we're kind of unscripted here. Nobody's writing our stuff for us. And they're trying to break down the door to get in. There's some people who don't want to be associated with the synagogue, so they slip through the back door, hoping nobody will see them. It's like, hoping nobody will see them here, because it could be very bad for their reputation. We do have a wonderful member of our congregation coming up now. You know, we like the psychological teaching of mindfulness. That's what we try to practice here, not to go through the motions, but to go through the emotions, and not just to follow ritual, but to seek the spiritual, and to approach everything with a mindful attitude. Well, I know no one who does this better than our favorite therapist, psychologist, Dr. Marcy Weiss, who's just a wonderful person, and I'm thrilled to call her up now to lead us in the honor of Kiddush. So come on up forward, and you can read what's written here and share any other thoughts you would like on Shabbat.
Let us bless the source of life that ripens the fruit on the vine as we hallow the 7th day, the Shabbat day, the Sabbath day, in remembrance of creation. For the Sabbath is the first among holy days. We therefore raise the cup of sweet wine and recite the blessing over the wine. Let's all say it together. Ready? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Amen. And I just like to say that, as always, it's wonderful to see everyone here. It's wonderful to celebrate Shabbat here, a time of peace and serenity and love, and having a union of people together that are just wonderful people. So I really enjoy this, and I look forward to it all week long. So thank you, Rabbi.
We look forward to seeing you too all week long. We do have a very good cross-section of people. We have some people visiting us from Abbey, Delray South, I believe, right? Abbey, Delray. Abbey Delray North. Yes, we believe in uniting the North and the South, so the South is invited here as well. We don't want to discriminate. Abbey Delray, welcome. It's great to see you here. We also have the Interfaith Cafe here representing different faith traditions. Here we take a lot of pride in the Jewish tradition. We believe that the Jewish heritage can help make this world a better place. And one of the ways that it can make a better place would be to bring people of every religion together under one roof. We believe that religion should unite people. My father also taught me that the word religion comes from the same root as the word ligament, the L-I-G, or in Spanish ligar, means to tie or bind together. Religion should bind us together with each other, with all living things, and with the entire cosmos. That's why we practice cosmic Judaism, to unite us with everything. And so our goal is to bring all the religions together under one roof, united in a common effort to save our planet from ourselves and to protect all living things as well. So we bring the religions together. My father was the founder of the Temple of Understanding, along with other clergy and Judy Hollister. The goal was to unite the religions in peace and harmony. And he's the inspiration to me and to the ideals that we cherish in Judaism and here. And so I created another song, Hine Matov, which is always sung in Hebrew. We sing it in Arabic, Spanish, and French, and Hebrew. I do believe in interfaith outreach, and I think if Jews and Muslims can finally learn to get along, we will teach the world that if we can get along, so can everybody else. So we continue with Hine Matov in Arabic and in Hebrew first. In Hebrew, you probably know the Hebrew version. Feel free to join with me. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim. That's the English translation. Hine matov, hine matov, la 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 la. Hine matov, hine matov, la 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 la. Como ajaid wa mufid anaisha ikhwatan wachad. Como ajaid wa mufid anaisha ikhwatan wachad. Que agradable es unirse en paz celebrando como hermanos. Comme merveilleux et magnifique célébrer comme frères ensemble. Now we have the invitation to prayer, part of our Shabbat celebration. Here at Va-Dor, we don't submit to a supernatural being in the sky to bail us out of our problems. We believe it's more efficacious to try to find the divine, the holy within us, which is, you can define God in this way. The concept of God has evolved over time. If you want to make a concept of God that's consistent with, think of this. It's a creative power in all, that unites all, that transcends all, that's constantly changing what is into what could be. And religion is trying to make that change, not just what could be, what should be. That definition of God doesn't require any blind faith at all. It's based on facts. It is a fact that we started out as one cell as a zygote, and we replicated those cells to become 100 trillion of them, which somehow figures out what to do so we can see, hear, think, walk about, and hit a tennis ball. I mean, these are miracles. All right, so that creative power in us you can't deny is there. And it also started as a singularity in the universe, and it created all of this. And it also unites all because it's the same creative power in all of us and all living things. And it transcends all because it's greater than any one of us. So what we try to do here when we say prayer is to connect with that creative, awesome power in the universe that's within us, and to allow that to flourish within us so that we can be the best version of ourselves that we can be, and unite with others to make this world the best that it could be. We continue with responsive reading, where you see the part in bold, and you should be emboldened to read those words in public. We have gathered here this Shabbat to worship and reflect upon the meaning of our lives and to rediscover that wise, purpose without which our ancestors believed no one can live. Together. It is the moment of pause, the refilling of the empty vessel, the renewing of the spirit. It is time to rest, rejuvenate, and to reflect upon the universality of life and the common goals of all humanity. From this family, values are born. Love is created and charity is endowed with meaning. This is the reason we have gathered together this evening, both family and friends. This is a Jewish congregation, but we believe Judaism should be an outreach religion to all people, and we hope that all people will feel comfortable joining in the sharing of Shabbat, which is really just a celebration of creation. And so we welcome everyone here to be part of this congregation. The word Jewish comes from Yehudah, which is related to the word Todah, which means thank you. So if you believe that we would be improved as people if we gave thanks and had gratitude, an attitude of gratitude, which should never become a platitude, if you agree with that, and you believe that when we see the plants and the trees and the incredible innovations of modern science like this, and a television, a car, and people and friends and family, if you believe that we should appreciate everything around us and not take it for granted, well, that's expressing thanks. So in that way, everyone is practicing Judaism, giving thanks. The Baruch Hu gives thanks for the incredible, wondrous creation that gave rise to us. Please, if you're comfortable doing so, stand for the Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vahed. The next is the Shema. That's called the watchword of the Jewish faith. It talks about the unity of the creative power that's within us and everything else. The Shema believes that the Jewish people have a mission to help everyone perceive this unity in each other. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Baruch Shem, Kivod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. And a modern interpretation of the Shema is as follows. The cosmos reflects a creative power, and this power is one. When we perceive this unity in our neshama, then a new day has begun. Please be seated. The V'ahavta reminds us that when we get up in the morning, go to sleep, walk by the way, talk to our kids, we should try to teach a love for all people, even people who are different from us, even people who speak a different language, different race, have a different religion. And we're incurable optimists. We believe that we also have the potential to love people even of a different political party. Yes, we believe that's not only possible, but essential to the welfare of our nation. So we read the V'ahavta. You can read with me if you like. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayul hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha u'v'lechtecha v'derech u'shachbacha u'v'kumecha u'kshartam le'ot yadecha והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Again, responsive reading. Help us to feel peaceful this new Shabbat. After noise, we seek quiet. After concentration on work and responsibility, we seek freedom to listen to our inward selves. we break open the gates of goodness and kindness in ourselves and in others. Avot ve'imahot, we read to give thanks for our parents. And when we read this, we think, am I living up to the possibility, the potential that our parents saw in us? Am I showing myself worthy of all the love, all the wisdom that they shared and showed upon us? Are we worthy recipients of the faith that our ancestors had and the ability to create a better world? They gave their lives for that faith. Are we willing and able to carry on that wonderful tradition that has been handed down to us? All of that is incorporated in the Avot Imahot, in honor and praise of our parents, our forebears. Let us also rise, if we're comfortable doing so, and read the Avot ve'imahot, giving thanks to fathers and to foremothers. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה קדוש, ושמך הקדוש, וקדושים בכל יום, יהלוך הסלע, ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Please be seated. Many people wonder, why do you need to read Hebrew? What's wrong with English? Well, language is the best way to join and unite people of a common culture and common way of thinking. It's also the best way to understand the original sources of our inspiration by being able to read them in the original language. And so Hebrew connects us with the people who wrote the Bible in Hebrew. It connects us with people all around the world. Jews, Christians, and Muslims draw inspiration from this Bible. So when we read from the Bible, when we read Hebrew, we're uniting and connecting ourselves with others. Hebrew is also the only language in the history of planet Earth that was deemed a dead language and came back to life. It was predicted by Herzl, who said, Im tirtzu en zogada, if you will it, it's no dream. And the language of the prophets is spoken today. And we hope that the ideals of the prophets will also be practiced today. This next song is called I'm a Believer. I am a believer. I do have faith, but I'm not sure about my faith in myself to be able to sing this without Carol here, who usually does this song with me, but I will give it my best shot, and we'll see how it goes. I thought God was only true in fairy tales and made up stories from some ancient text. They said God was great, but I could not relate. The whole idea just made me feel perplexed. Then I saw God's face. Now I'm a believer. I feel God's grace in my heart and my mind. I found love. Yeah, I'm a believer and conceiver of the divine. I thought God was something quite mysterious. You couldn't understand him if you tried. But then I looked around, and miracles abound, and this power surges from inside. Now I see God's face throughout the cosmos, a creative force, above and right here. It could be no clearer. When I look in the mirror, in me and you, God does appear. Now I see God's face. No, I'm a believer. Not a trace of doubt in my mind. Now that love, religion, and reason are so pleasing when aligned. I thought God was only true in fairy tales and made up stories from some ancient text. But then I looked around, and miracles abound, and this power surges from inside. Now I see God's face. Yeah, I'm a believer. Not a trace of doubt in my mind. Now that love, religion, and reason are so pleasing when aligned. Thank you. You guys are a great choir. Thank you very much. The whole point of the song is to suggest that the God that our ancestors believed in, we might not believe in that concept, but their belief that there's something wondrous, miraculous, and mysterious in this world that we should cherish and should inspire us. It was said by the greatest scientist of all, Albert Einstein, who said, you can look at the world as if everything is a miracle or nothing is a miracle. And he said the more he knew of science, the more convinced he was it's all a miracle, because it all operates according to laws and principles that apply throughout the cosmos with singular regularity. And so we celebrate that power. We now have perhaps the most important part of the service. You don't have to listen to me anymore. Now you can listen to your own heart. You can take some of the songs and prayers and words from our tradition and apply them. We can apply them to our lives and think, how can these words be made real in my life so that when I leave here, I'm more inspired, I'm a better person, and I share the inspiration and the view of people, prophets of long ago, who thought that there was divinity and sanctity in all of us. How can I make that happen? That's for all of us to do as we spend a few moments in silent meditation. We now are going to read the names of those who are ailing. A traditional prayer asks God to heal them. We know today that we, in our words and our presence, have the power to heal others. And even if our words don't bring about a cure, they strengthen and support those who are ailing and help them understand they're not in this on their own, but there are people who care. That makes all the difference. So we read the names of those who are on our sick list: Sharon Babbitt, Dr. Stephen Berkowitz, Rita Elias, Bill Field, Donna Field, Laura Gallagher, Cantor Carol Garrett, Jim Garrett, Sherry Glass, Nadine Herbst, Gary Herman, Carol Kahn, Kendra Kurz, Dr. Sudhir Nair, Marilyn Paul, Laura Perlman Devins, Ira Phillips, Vivian Cronin, Bernie Rosen, Susan Rosenberg, Stanley Rosenwasser, Miriam Sivak, Jacob Viner, Douglas Volan, Jordan Volan, Naomi Volan, and Sheila Winston. Anybody want to share any other names? Yes, in the back. Thank you. Yes? Marcy? Thank you. Yes? Emily? Thank you. Yes, in the back. Thank you. Yes? 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 Anybody else? These days we always include in our prayers the people of Ukraine, the people of Russia living under servitude, the women of Iran and many other Islamic-dominated countries. And we always include among those who are ailing our precious planet. Let us see what we can do to bring about a refuah shalema, a complete restoration. Not just for the sake of the planet, but we do have the Cantor's granddaughter, Madison, who is here. She's going to have to be growing up and living through, and some of these other young people, the mistakes that we're making. So we owe it to them to leave this world and this planet a little better than we found it. And now we sing the Misha Berach. Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. As I mentioned, we do have the Interfaith Cafe here. Linda Pryor has guided and led this group to help promote interfaith harmony for decades. I think she is here, and if she'd like, she's welcome to say a few words with us tonight about how we can achieve interfaith peace. Linda, the microphone is yours.
Thank you, Barry, for inviting us. It's always a pleasure to be with you and with your congregation. The Interfaith Cafe is taking a break during the summer, and perhaps we will be meeting here at least once a month so that we can enjoy the interfaith spirit. I invite anyone who's interested to contact me after the service, after the celebration, and tell me if you're interested in being on our email list. I also have abortion petitions. So if you'd like to sign a petition to say that we should put abortion, the idea of abortion, on the ballot, please see me. And there are petitions in the back, I understand. Thank you very much, Barry.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Linda. Thanks for helping to spread the word about abortion rights. Yes, we've had those petitions out here for the better part of a month, not just to put it on the ballot, but to guarantee a woman's right to choose. We hope that we'll get a lot of signatures on that. Now we're going to have the Torah service. We call this the pièce de résistance. We're going to, and we have a really great passage that we're reading about Bilam. And so we read responsibly before the reading. When Torah entered the world, freedom entered it. Its highest teaching is love and kindness. That is the whole Torah. All the rest is commentary. Go and learn it. That line, all the rest is commentary, that's from Hillel. A man went to Shammai, one of the great leaders around the time of Jesus, and said, Shammai, teach me all of Judaism while I stand on one foot. Well, Shammai was really smart, but not that patient. He said, get out of here. Stop wasting my time. He went to Hillel, and he said, Hillel, teach me all Judaism while I stand on one foot. And he said these words, what is hateful to you, do not do to any person. All the rest is commentary. Go and learn it. So that's he also said another statement that we like today. He said, if I am not for myself, who will be? But if I am for myself alone, what am I? And if not now, when? You see, he believed in NOW, the National Organization for Women. He was even 2,000 years ago, he was encouraging everyone, if not now, when? I say, if not now, who? If not now, who's going to lead this charge? So we have a Torah reading. Before we actually read the Torah, we call up Roberta Cooper and Emily Jacobs Robarts to come on up and carry the Torah around. And we have two noisemakers. This is your big chance. If you don't like just sitting around quietly and you want to make some noise, come on up and grab one of these noisemakers. Oh, you're going to switch it up this time? Yeah. Okay, good. Switch it up. Anybody who wants to make some noise? You're well. And we have some Torah songs. The first one is Al Shlosha Devarim, if you know that. You don't know that one? Well, I guess that won't be the first one. How about Tov Lehodot? Am Yisrael Chai. That's a good one. Let's do that. Am Yisrael Chai. Jewish people live. Am Yisrael Chai. No, the other version. Am Yisrael. No, the other version. Am Yisrael Chai. Yeah. Okay. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu Chai. Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai. Chai, you know, it means life. Od Avinu means our fathers and our mothers still live within us. It's up to us to determine whether they still live within us or if we ignore them. What else do we have? You know, Bashana? Okay, let's do Bashana. There you go. Bashana haba neshev al hamirpeset v'nispo tzipurim nodedot ילדים בחופשה ישחקו תופסת בין הבית לבין השדות עוד תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה עוד תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה. I think we're about ready. All right, perfect timing. Okay. Thank you so much. No. We cherish the Torah not because it was written by an infallible being. We cherish the Torah because it was written by fallible human beings trying to figure out the world around them, trying to understand how to live in harmony with each other and achieve a better world. They saw the world as it was, and they thought, we can do better than this. There are people who take this literally. That was an exceptionally dangerous thing to do. This was our first effort at science, medicine, philosophy, history, and a bunch of other things. And they didn't quite get it right. But we cherish this because the dream of a better world and trying to live up to our highest potential and their willingness to give their lives for that dream, we do cherish. The Bible has in it mythology about creation, the Tower of Babel, and such things. If you believe that those myths and you take them literally, you will be myth-guided, myth-informed, myth-led, myth-understood. You'll myth the boat when it comes to knowing what really happened. And you'll be mythogynistic, as the governor and many other people who are trying to tell women what to do prove. It creates mythogeny if you believe in those myths. And so that's why we have filed a challenge to the Bible in the public schools, because it tops the list of all the things that you could possibly find offensive in literature according to the standards set out by our governor. This is at the very, very top of the list in all of them when it's read literally. When it's read rationally and interpreted in that way, it tops the list for the most inspiring, most awesome work that we can have that can help us make a better world. That's why we interpret it rationally. We're now going to do the blessing before the Torah. Baruch hu et Adonai hamavarach. Baruch Adonai hamavarach leolam vahed. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch ata Adonai noten haTorah. We tend not to touch the Torah with our hand, so we use this yad, the Hebrew word for hand, in order to read the Torah. As you know, the Torah is a bestseller, and it's got a lot of great stories in it, a lot of sex and violence and intrigue and drama. This passage, it's not quite as sexy or violent as some of the others, but it has lessons in it that can teach us a lot. Vayomer Balak el Bilam gam kav lo tikmatzu gam barach lo להבחני ויען בלעם ויאמר אל בלק Halo dibarti elecha lomar kol asher yidaber Adonai oti. So let me just give you a little background of the story. There's a leader called Balak, and he is worried that the Jews are going to come in and wipe him out and destroy him. As you recall, in Genesis, or in the book of Exodus, the Jewish people were misled into believing that a supernatural being wanted them to kill people in the Holy Land who didn't share their belief in God because they would contaminate the land. Okay, today we know this is odious. It's called genocide. We reject it. We don't excuse it. We don't rationalize it. We reject it. It never actually happened. These are embellishments, but we don't believe that anyone should pay the slightest attention to voices in their head telling them to kill somebody. But the way the story goes, that's what they were doing, and Balak was really worried. So he hires a professional hexologist named Bilam. There's a great prophet, and his words have power. What he says happens. So he says, I'll give you all types of wealth if you will curse the Jews, because I know your words have power. And so he answers as follows. Balaam answers Balak as follows. He says, I'm sorry, I can't do anything but say what the Spirit within me moves me to say. He actually says Adonai. He's talking about the Jewish God. He's not Jewish. But he says, I can't say anything other than what Adonai tells me to say. Say lemor Balak el Bilam, lama ana ekachecha el makom acher, ulai yishaer be'einecha ha'elohim v'kavati le misham. And so he had taken Balaam to a place to curse the Jews, and he said some great things about the Jewish people. So he says, let me try a different place, maybe a different perspective. I'll take you to a different location, and I'm still offering you a whole bunch of money if you will say some bad things about the Jewish people. V'yinashkef lo panai hayishemut lemor Bilam el Balak bana li bazeh shiv'a mizbechot v'tachen li ba amar Bilam v'ya'al par v'ayil v'mizbeach. And he says, okay, build me an altar. Got to have all my props ready. Build me up an altar, and let's see what comes to me. Vayar Bilam ki tov be'enai Adonai livarech et Yisrael v'lo halach pa'aham likrat nachashim v'yishet el hamidbar panav v'yisa Bilam et enav vayar et Yisrael shochen l'shivtav v'tehi alav ruach Elohim. V'yisam yishalo v'yomer na'um Bil'am v'no na'ar v'nam hagaber shitam ha'az na'eh shema amari el asher machazeh shadai Adonai nifal v'galui einayim ma'tovu halecha Yaakov mishkanotecha Yisrael. And so Balaam then looks out upon the Jewish people dwelling peacefully with their families in tents below the mountaintop. And he says, so speaks Bilam, the son of Naor, and he gives his pedigree, the prophet, according to the words of God. Ma tovu halecha Yisrael mishkanotecha Yaakov. How goodly are thy tents, O Jacob, thy dwelling places, O Israel. And then he praises them and says, may the Jewish people flourish, and may their crops do well, and the rivers run abundantly. And these are the words of the prophet Bilam, who turned down all the great wealth that he was offered in order to say what he believed the Spirit within him required. A blessing after the Torah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torat emet v'chai olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. Now, this is a fascinating passage. In the interest of time, I just gave you the highlight of it, but there's another part of the passage that's very funny. Supposedly, God doesn't want Balaam to go around cursing the Jewish people, so he's trying to block his path so he can't get to the next spot. So he has an angel with a sword in the middle of the path, and the donkey that he's riding sees the angel, and he freaks out. And so he withdraws, and he goes to the side, and he tries to not confront this angel with a sword. Balaam, the greatest prophet of all, who can see the word of God, has no clue He can't see the angel with a sword. And so he doesn't know what the donkey's doing. So he's whipping the donkey. Come on, let's go, let's go. And the donkey's resisting. He's whipping him some more. And after a few times, the donkey gets tired of this. And he speaks. And he turns around and says to Balaam, you're not an idiot. You're a smart guy. Have I ever done this before? Have I ever not gone where you asked me to go? Don't you get it? There's something going on here that's a little different than usual. He says, open up your eyes so that you can see what's going on. And suddenly he realizes, oh my gosh, and he feels terrible what he did to the donkey. And so this passage it's kind of amusing. The greatest prophet needs a donkey to set him straight. But you see, I don't necessarily believe in biblical prophecy, but sometimes the prophecy comes true. Because we have politicians now who are trying to tell women what to do with their bodies. We have politicians now who play a second fiddle to the NRA, which should stand for not respectable anymore, and insist that we have the best armed mass murderers in the world. We have politicians who say that climate change, the worst, most horrific environmental catastrophe to confront planet Earth since 65 million years ago when the dinosaurs were wiped out, they say it's a hoax. So you see, biblical prophecy comes true because in this Torah passage, we have a talking ass. And we have politicians who insist on making this prophecy come true. We also have the same kind of scenario in Shrek. In Shrek, there's a talking donkey. Remember? Now, the donkey is not very bright. Shrek is very intelligent. But the donkey has something to teach Shrek. He teaches them friendship, love, companionship. Shrek, with all his intelligence, doesn't get it. By the end of the story, he too has the ability to listen and to improve himself. Many times we think, oh, we know everything. What do I have to learn from this person? This story is trying to tell us something. Listen, you're not quite as smart as you might think. Yeah, you know a lot of things, but there's a lot to learn. The passage also tells us other things as well. The power of words. If you take words and you take the S and move it to the beginning, it becomes a sword. Interesting thing about Hebrew, the language has sermonics in it or homiletics in it. The word for word in Hebrew is davar. Davar. And davar means a word. It also means a thing. What that means is our words can become things. They can become objects. They can become reality. Balaam had the power to utter a blessing, and it worked, or a curse. How many of us have seen that happen with our children? You tell your children, you're awesome, you can do it, you have potential. They might believe that. You tell them you're no good, you're worthless. Or a religious leader tells the people this world is doomed. Instead of teaching what Judaism teaches, that we're born good, that our neshama is pure, that we may have made some mistakes along the way, but we can recapture the goodness of our soul because that is our true nature. They teach us the opposite, that our true nature is evil, sinful, born in original sin because of a made-up story about a made-up sin perpetrated by women who tempted Adam by giving him the apple. How horrible to teach people, society, millions of people, that you're a worm, you're worthless, you're nothing. And to teach them that the reason is because women tempted men with the apple. You know, Adam was confronted by God. Why do you eat the apple? He said, it wasn't my fault. It's that woman you created. She told me to eat the apple. Then he went to the woman and said, why did you do that? She says, it wasn't my fault. It's that snake. Snake you created. He's the one who tempted me. Then he went to the snake, and the snake didn't have a leg to stand on. The power of words. You inspire people with your words. They come to you and say, nice to see you. I like your outfit. You find something nice to say about them. They're ailing. You can make them feel better. And you can also bring them down. Mindfulness tells us surround yourself with people who are going to lift you up and try to be like that ourselves. What else does it say? Integrity. Balaam couldn't be bought. You could give him all the wealth in the world. It didn't matter. I'm going to call it like I see it. I'm going to tell the truth. If only we had a Supreme Court like that. No, they take free trips. They travel all around by, was it Harlan Crow? And as the crow flies, Supreme Court justices are corrupted. And when he says, it doesn't make any difference to me, I don't pay any attention, I don't have to report it. Let's just say I'm a doubting Thomas when it comes to Justice Thomas. Worse than all of that, you have members of the Supreme Court who are appointed by a self-admitted abuser of women. A guy who openly bragged about all the women that he abuses on an open mic, and then, of course, denies it. Self-admitted abuser of women appointing people on the Supreme Court to abuse women by law throughout the nation. They should be impeached as the fruit of the poisonous tree. They should be ashamed. They should come forward and say, I renounce my appointment to the Supreme Court because I was appointed by a man who started an insurrection, who tried to take over our government. A pathetic, pathological liar appointed me. I should withdraw my nomination. There should be some integrity like Balaam practiced. Balaam was offered everything and said, no, I don't think so. There are some things more important than money. That's my honor and my integrity. So we see from this passage that there's a lot to learn. We need to be open to new ways of looking at things, not just our own preconceived notion. But here perhaps is one of the most important things of all. We Jews have been subjected to grotesque, grisly, gruesome discrimination for a very, very long time. Sadly, we don't want to acknowledge where it comes from. A Jewish God, we found the enemy, it's ourselves, a Jewish God who orders people to be killed if they disagree with their religion. It's metastasized in Christianity and Islam, in which they say, no, now we're chosen and we're going to kill you because you don't accept our God. Now, today, fortunately, many Christians and Muslims believe in peace and don't accept those passages, but they're in the Quran. They're in Christian scripture. They're in the Jewish Bible. And if you don't repudiate them, then even if you're a good person, as I believe it was Voltaire who said, if you want good people do good things and bad people do bad things. But to take a good person and make them do bad things takes religion. If you believe these things, you'll do bad things. If you don't believe me, the two people who shot up synagogues, both of those killers, both based their shooting on Christian scripture, which told them the Jews are of the devil. Does that mean that we should fight against Christians? Absolutely not. Christians, Muslims, and Jews need to form an alliance of rational thinkers who say, let's together stop arguing over whose imaginary father in the sky loves them best, and let's practice rational religion in order to build a better society and to build bridges of understanding and knock down walls of separation. I hope that we can emulate some of the wisdom and the integrity of Balaam. We can't control the politicians, but we can influence them with our vote. But we can control ourselves. Let us base our beliefs not on prejudice and bias and where our money is coming from or whatever. Let us speak the truth. Even if it sometimes isn't our best interest, let us speak the truth. And in that way, we can achieve a better world, and we can build bridges of understanding and knock down walls of separation. Shabbat Shalom. Now we have, my climate change song. Okay. I got to drink some water for that. Feel free to join in with me. There comes a time when we're heating up the world and the earth is threatened as it warms. There are species dying, and it's time to take a stand for life in all its varied forms. Everyone. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones who can save the earth if we all pitch in. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. We can help make a cooler earth, just you and me. Yes, we can help make a cooler earth, just you and me. There comes a time when we must turn off Fox News and begin to face reality. The debate is over. There's no time left to choose. Saving Earth is up to you and me. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones who can make a change through conservation. There are glaciers melting, and it's time to take a stand. We can all help save the earth, just you and me. Yes, we can all help save the earth, just you and me. CO2 now fills the atmosphere, and its level must begin to fall. And our goal is clear. 350 parts per million must become the target of us all. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones who can save the earth if we all pitch in. There are oceans rising, and it's time to take a stand. We can help make a cooler earth, just you and me. Everyone. Yes, we can help make a cooler earth, just you and me. Now, I do want to say, in the interest of fairness, I've been on MSNBC a couple of times, and I do appreciate their words about climate change. But in my opinion, there's a lot of stuff they get wrong, too. If I was writing a song about Israel, I would say that MSNBC does speak MS, which is Yiddish for truth, on some issues. On other ones, not so much. So we need to call all news stations and all politicians to report honestly all of the issues. But thank you very much for joining me in that song. Now let's see what Sharon has for us next. The Aleinu. If you'd like, please stand for the Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach le'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. Please remain standing for the Kaddish. Remember the names of those who have recently been taken from us: Jason Franks, Harvey Godoroff, Marvin Katz, Ann Kritzer, Harvey Middleman, Faith Pear, Arlene Potter, Bobby Safe, and the anniversary of those whose departure occurs these days: Carl Bain, Abe Berenson, Jerry Kamina, Robert Corman, Andrea Donner, Libby Falek, Helen Volkman, Hyman Folkman, Leonard Gilmore, Francis Goldman, Ray Herman, Edward Horowitz, Jack Kraft, Alan Krauss, Bonnie Larson, Robert Leaf, Stephen Leibovitz, Jerome Migdal, Stanley Millman, Leon Nachmayas, Philip Paritsky, Molly Pasick, Rose Raddick, Estelle Rose, Sylvia Rosenwasser, Dorothy Rothschild, Alvin Marvin Salzer, Lauren Salzer, Simon Salzer, Molly Schipper, Alan Shadoff, Herman Shanoff, Jess Silver, Jack Sperber, Lillian Taylor, Milton Werby, and Bessie Winston. Anybody else? Any other names you'd like to recite? Thank you. Anyone else? Yes. Yes? Thank you. Anybody else? Thank you. We hope that their memory will be a blessing, and let us recite v'kadosh yiskadal v'yiskadash shemir rabba v'yomad yivrach chusei v'yamnich ma chusei v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayed chol beis Yisrael v'agala b'zman kariv imru amen. Yehi shemir rabba mivorach l'olam omeya Yisbarach v'yistabach v'yispoor v'yischomam v'yisnaseh v'yisadar v'yisaleh v'yisalal shemei l'kedusha b'rechum le'elam enkor b'chasa v'shirasa tish b'chasa v'nechamasa dam yichon b'yomah v'yimru amen. Yehi shlam araba min shmaya v'chayim aleinu v'yokol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom v'yimramav v'yaseh shalom aleinu v'yokol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Please be seated. Call up Sharon Leibovitz for her comments and announcements.
Thank you, Rabbi. I trip over the cable. Thank you, Rabbi Barry. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thank you to Madison for doing the videography. And thank you for Ruth Notif on the piano. And thank you for all the helpers that we have for the Oneg Shabbat. I really appreciate that. Please stay afterwards for our Oneg Shabbat and enjoy some refreshments and some schmoozing with one another. Thank you so much. At Va-Dor, our doors are open to everyone, and we thank you all for being part of this beautiful Shabbat together. And we hope that there'll be more interfaith harmony between all of us. Thank you. On Monday, July 3rd, we have a new program called Music and Meditation with Cantor Carol, and that's going to be on Zoom, so virtually at 7 p.m., and we hope that you'll all join us. You can find the link on our website, ladorvador.org. On Tuesday, July 4th, we won't have our Touch of Torah, but we will have it for next week, Tuesday, July 11th, and that'll be at 7 p.m., and that's Touch of Torah, a little bit of Torah study with Rabbi. It's a very personal and very nice hour with Rabbi. On Wednesday, July 5th at 10:30 a.m. here in this room, Rabbi will lead current events. So if you're here and you would like to come back, please join Rabbi for current events. And on that same day, Wednesday, July 5th at 2 p.m. on Zoom, Rabbi is going to be doing a dialogue discussion with an author, Richard Schwartz from Israel, and it'll be about, does Judaism lead to veganism and vegetarianism? And it should be a very interesting discussion. Rabbi is a vegetarian, and Richard Schwartz is a vegan, and so this discussion could change your life and the planet, possibly. Next Friday, July 7th, we have our first Friday Shabbat, where we honor all of our July birthdays and anniversaries. So come on down for that. It'll be here at 7:30. And look for us on social media, on our YouTube channel, our Facebook, our Instagram, and our website, ladorvador.org. And I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom, a happy week, and thank you for coming.
Thank you, Sharon, for everything. We really appreciate all that you do. As a final benediction, I will just say this. Let us have the courage to look at ourselves honestly and to acknowledge our faults, our transgressions, so that we can grow. That's the only way that we can improve. Let us look at our own faith tradition honestly and see the faults and transgressions there. And let us, in that way, be part of a spiritual transformation, changing religion from tribal to cosmic, changing religion from mindless to mindful, changing religion not as one which seeks to dominate others on the planet, but one which seeks to help us learn to live in harmony with each other, with all living things, and with planet Earth. Shabbat Shalom. And now we're going to conclude with America Beautiful. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains' majesty above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Now, I have to tell you, I was very torn because I just got back from a cruise, and my brother Dan is a professional comedian, sent me the genesis of an incredible song about our governor, Ron DeSantis. And it's over the cruise, I was like working on it, and it became like one of my favorite parodies that I've ever written. And I was really excited, but I'm thinking, should I sing this in front of the congregation? Well, let me see. If I do, I could be fired. I was already fired once by this guy. I could be fired, and we could lose our lease with the heritage. But I'd be able to have a nice song sung and have a good laugh, maybe. But if I don't, then I'll feel like a coward. So here's what I think. If we had a vote, I'm pretty sure I know how that would turn out. It would be overwhelmingly, yeah, sing the song probably. Well, I will take the vote if you want. Who would like to hear the song? Yeah, that's what I figured, and a few people wouldn't. So here's what I came up with. I'm taking it offline. I'm doing it not as part of Va-Dor. Hang out a little bit, enjoy the oneg, and maybe about 15 minutes in, I'll go into another room where, if you are not too sensitive to making fun of politicians, I will sing one of my favorite new parodies for you. All right. So, well, if Alan says I can sing it here, I guess I have license to do it. Okay, I'll share this with you now then. Okay. Sharon's telling me what I have to make it short. Okay, yes. Go ahead. Yeah, okay. There we go. And I'll take off my kippah. Doesn't rhyme in Hebrew. Okay. Wait a minute. Okay, here we go. You ready? Deluded Ron, what's that power trip you're on? Could it be a racist rant from days gone by? And did I hear you say students can't say they are gay, or transition from a gal into a guy? His backward laws force teens to have a baby. They have no choice, no ifs and buts or maybe. His heart has moved not even just a smidgen to recognize the freedom of religion, snatching the future from our children's hands by colluding with the despoilers of our lands. He rules on things that he misunderstands and wages war on gays, women, and trans. Deluded Ron, what's that power trip you're on? Could it be a racist rant from days gone by? And did I hear you say students can't say they are gay, or transition from a gal into a guy? Thank you very much. I can't guarantee that I'll be here next week. I'll let you know what the board says, and I'll let you know what the heritage says. But if so, I'll have another song for your listening pleasure. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's great to be with you. Thank you. Thanks for giving me license. And I think you're going to be on that document. I think you're going to be all over the world. Good job.